Welcome to the show. This is all being done in one take, so my condolences. The first thing I'm going to do is demonstrate the camera controls. Very standard stuff. Click and drag the mouse to pan around on all three axes. Rotate the view, that is. WASD to pan. And that's it. Now here's a deck of cards. If you click and quickly drag away from the deck, you can draw a single card at a time and place wherever you want. If you click and hold, you can pick up the entire deck. When hovering over a card, if you press F, you can flip it. When hovering over a card, if you press Alt, you can get a magnified view. And if you also press Shift, you can get a view of the reverse, which is known as peeking. And those eye icons that popped up alert other players that you've been peeking. All right, let's get the deck back together and shuffle. Yep, you just wiggle the mouse. Here, well, you wiggle the mouse, or you can use the context menu. All right, now here I've cut the deck, but I should have rotated it before. I should have rotated the second stack before dropping it back in the first stack, and I didn't, so I'm acting like a complete retard instead. But fortunately, the game is less retarded than I am and puts the deck back together for me. These are just standard playing cards, but you can make your own custom decks. Modders can make custom decks. The sky's the limit. Now here I'm demonstrating lift height. You can set variable default lift heights, or you can hold R while you're moving something around to change the lift height. Very handy. The setting will depend on the game and the game that you're playing. Now here I'm using Q and E to rotate. If you press Alt while using Q and E, the mouse wheel can be used in addition to Q and E. Then you can rotate on the horizontal axis as well as vertical. Now for decks of cards, as you can see, there's a dealing mechanism built in. You can deal one variable amounts to different color players. You can press the center button to deal to all players. You can draw cards from various different decks that might be on the board. And I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh yes, the group command. That neatens everything up nicely, and back into the deck we go. Oh, you may have noticed, even though I haven't mentioned it yet, that you can draw bounding boxes just like in a real-time strategy game to grab entire groups of objects. And there are other ways to grab groups of objects as well. Now, at the moment, since I'm the blue player, I can't see the other player's cards, which is why they're shown as question marks. So I'm going to change to the Game Master. Now, in the Game Master mode, which is the black color, I can see everything that would normally be hidden on the board. And you can set various zones to hide portions of the board and make them visible only to certain players and teams using the tools included with the game. The chat window there that I just demonstrated, very basic chat window. You can find it in the lobby-based game or MMO, very standard settings. All right, let's demonstrate some bibs and bobs. All right, you've got your standard quarter. You can flip it by twirling it around, or shooting it around. You can throwing it up in the air, whatever you want. You can also use the context menu to neatly flip and get a decisive result. Let's just throw that over there. Okay, yep, standard RPG dice, plastic, different colors. Well, RPG or tabletop wargaming. You can draw a bounding box, roll your dice. You can roll them with the context menu, which is what I prefer because it's more decisive. If you're using dice as counters, you can flip them around, like in Magic the Gathering or fucking whatever. These particular dice can also be swapped between metal textures and colors, and you can change their tint individually. Nice. Yeah, let's get some nice purple dice there. It's pretty gay. It's pretty gay, but I like it. And that's pretty gay too. Okay. Let's get rid of that bowl. Now, this is a bag. Bag is basically a container which you can place basically anything. usually dice, tiles. You can even put cards, bowls, or other bags in. Actually, I don't know if you can bag a bag, but you can certainly put dice in there. And just like with a deck of cards, you can draw, or you can manually pull dice out of there. You can also shuffle things that are in the bag so that they're randomized. You can open up a search menu and drag things out of the bag that way. Or you can use the search field to find something, although that's not very useful in my experience. Or you can draw from it directly with the context menu, just like with cards. I don't know why I'm magnifying and peeking the bag and here. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why we really don't need to demonstrate these additional dice. This is just a waste of time. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time, and it's a waste of YouTube's resources. But as you can see, even the 6-sided dice can be material swapped. And of course, modders can create any sorts of dice you can imagine, and they can and have. There are many, many different mods in the workshop. Excellent. Excellent high-quality mods, as you will soon see. All right, it's time to clean up all this. Yeah, and just put a bowl in the bag. Now, this type of container is an infinite counter container, and as you can see, I just grab little white Go counters and throw them all over the table all day long. And I'll just put that, no, leave the bowl alone. And now I can draw a bounding box and just delete those to clean up the mess. And I think we've got our first big jump cut coming up here. Pretty sure. Oh, by the way, you can grab stuff while it's in flight. Okay, great. Right. Well, first let's take a look at the hotkeys, which are fully custom. You can customize all your key bindings. But I'm going to pull up the hotkeys and let you take a look at them. Feel free to pause the video if you like. Very intricate and articulate control of objects in this game, and the camera, and lots of contextual actions and modifiers, and I can't imagine playing this game with a controller, but they have controller support also. Oh yeah, and the magnifier. You can just hold M to magnify portions of a board at any time. I keep saying board, I mean table. Tables and boards are two different things. Right now we're on a table. Basically a blank table for demonstration purposes. Okay, what I'm doing here is, this is actually, this table and the floor underneath it are objects created by a modder and uploaded to the Steam Workshop. Now, because of the way I saved the game before I started this demonstration video, the scripting is a little off. That's my fault. Normally the playboards and cubby holes there would extend and retract, as you expect. You could set a custom surface on the table using your own image file within the game's directory structure. That's just a demo to show that you can have a custom surface. Now this, oh dear, what am I doing? I'm going to show you what kind of, I guess we're going to close all these. Yeah, fantastic editing, folks. This is professional level, professional quality editing. You won't find it anywhere else. We can all count. Okay, jump cut. Right. This is what your basic play setup looks like with a vanilla game. A panoramic, high-res 2D image stretched around a nice high-poly table, and you can spawn basic games on top of it, or you can create your own custom games using Lua, the Lua programming language. Imported assets, imported images, all that good stuff. Yes, there's a cannon that shoots dice. This is an entirely custom setup. The background, the particle effects, the table, all the board pieces and cards and tiles and all that, plus the explanatory text to the right there, which you can use BB code and hexadecimal color codes, so that mod makers can leave you a little note or whatever you want to do with it. You can also use it in the middle of a game. Now, the game's basic functions kind of similar to Photoshop or Paint. You can see on the upper left there, I'm going through them. Can be accessed with the F1 through F10 keys, yes. Or you can just click on them and select what you want. You could paint directly on board, on tables, boards, game pieces, as long as they're locked down. Pieces that aren't locked down are dynamic, so you can't manipulate them in that way. Now I have to do this. Again, okay. Let's go to the top-down camera, which is it basically fully 2Difies everything. I mean, it really is fully 2D. And 2D is very handy. 2D camera is very handy for doing measurements, placing tiles, placing pieces and tiles in delicate positions, writing, measuring stuff, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, here's the measuring tool. Perfect. And it corresponds, by the way, to my player color, which I'm going to change to demonstrate what I mean. Right. Now when I use the line tool as player red, I get a red line. And that applies to pretty much every tool, every function. It's all color-coded depending on who's doing it. Guess I might as well demonstrate the flick tool while we're here, which is basically an invisible pool cue. Billiards cue, as you'll see. You just, yep, it's like that. We're at half gravity now, right now, by the way. The game is set at half gravity. That's the default. But you can go anywhere from 0 to Earth normal gravity. I've tried Earth normal, and it's better to leave it at 0.5. Ah, yes, dynamic text. You can put text in just about any color or size you like, anywhere on a table or game board. And leave it there for the whole game or whatever if you need notations or warnings. Or there we go, gizmos for manipulating three-dimensional objects. This is the snap tool creator, mostly used by people making their own custom games. And as you can see, when you drop pieces onto a snap point, they neatly snap into place and often rotate so that everything's nice and neat. Ah, yes, okay, 3D room. Again, a modder made this. This room is actually a bunch of imported objects forming the walls and floor, rather than just a skybox type background. But we can add a background. I'm going to use my own custom background here that I've prepared. Nice Japanese scene. Lovely. A modded room and a custom background. Now, it is a 2D panoramic image stretched around, as you can clearly see. It's nothing too fancy. But you can you can go online and find tons of panoramic images in the requisite file format. And you can download various rooms that modders have uploaded to the Steam Workshop. And also lots of little tools and pawns and card sets and entire games. Actually, hundreds of entire games from the workshop. And of course, you can flip the table. At least you can flip the default tables as long as there's not a floor object there. Otherwise, it doesn't work very well. Let's delete that. Components, as you can see, these can be color changed. You can change their size. Slots for custom items. Chess pawns of metal and wood. Marbles. You can play a game of marbles if you like. I guess I'm going to do that now. Yes, I'm recording the audio over the video rather than trying to do it while I was recording the video. That might have been a mistake. It might have been a mistake. This is a voiceover, okay? This is basically a voiceover. Probably a mistake, but here we are. Any tools include the calculator, very handy. The tablet, I wouldn't recommend anyone use that. Apparently, it lags the game. It's basically, you can just use the Steam browser if you really need to look something up in game, or Alt-Tab out or whatever. But you've got your calculators, your timers, an MP3 player, note cards that work as you'd expect using BB code and hexadecimal color codes. You can write on the, here's a turn counter. It does exactly what you expect. Right. Now, obviously I need my vape. I've got to have my framed portrait of Hulk Hogan. I love Hoagie, so there he is. I got to have him with me every game I play, obviously, because I'm a real American. But it's a little big for this small game table, so I'll actually demonstrate something useful 15 minutes into the video. You can scale things either with the context menu or with the plus and minus keys. Now I'm going to have myself a delicious vape. Don't know what flavor that is. Probably cancer flavored. Okay, let's get rid of that. And it's back. Can't get rid of the vape. Now I'm going to load a real game. None of this expository bullshit. This is a real intricate Euro game called Scythe in progress. Jump cut. And I go on at great length messing around with the lighting settings here. Probably shouldn't have done that, but you know, I should have devoted about 1/4 of the time that I did to lighting. But there's a whole lot you can do, including LUT filters. I've forgotten what that stands for, so I'm just going to call them loot filters. Which, ironically, that's not irony. Just ignore that. Like I said, one take, simmer down. Anyway, yeah. Loot filters are basically just saturation slash color slash black and white levels slash contrast filters. And their intensity can be, yeah, I was pulling the wrong slider there. Perfect. So there's a lot you can do with lighting if you're really big into the atmosphere. If you want to have a spooky game of Arkham Horror, you can make it happen. Bloom is one of my favorite filters, so I'm playing around with that. And let's reset everything back to normal because this is pointless. We're wasting everyone's time. We're definitely wasting people's time now. Okay, good. So, not a whole lot to really explain here. I'm just going to show you kind of what it looks like just interacting with all the game's bits and pieces when there's an actual... And you can see snap points in action here. That's what snap points are good for. As you can see, you really need those for a professionally designed game. This is a DLC made by the developers in collaboration with, I think his name is Jamie Stonemeyer. Yeah, the designer of Scythe. And they work together to make these assets and from scratch. Okay, what I'm getting ready to do is show that these translucent colored zones they hide different portions of the board, and you can draw them out either yourself. These come pre-done with the DLC, and these are scripted buttons. While that field is up, players who are of a different color can't see anything in there, counters, cards, anything at all. And I press a button, the field goes away, and they can see what's there. And as a game master, I can see everybody's stuff. Now you can see cards inside the fields and all that. All right, let's take a look at the manual. Yes, you can read a PDF quality. Yeah, basically, I'd say the resolution is near PDF quality. Possibly higher than the printed quality. So you can easily check rules, reference rules at any time during a game just by state changing the rulebook object. And that little blue token above the tooltip there indicates that it's a multi-state object. That's not limited to rulebooks. There can be many different types of objects that are multi-state. There we have a that's one object with multiple infinite counter compartments, as you can see, for our little, for little resource tokens and multiplier tokens. That's some shit we don't need. Your typical money for the banker, even though there's not a banker in this game. But we've got a box here just for funsies. Now this is a special function built into this DLC made through Lua scripting, which I am going to demonstrate now. You press this big button And the player area sets itself up. Well, there's still a bit left to do, but as you can see, the script runs and it sets up your player area for you. You just have a few things left to do and you're ready to go. And that's one of the advantages of having a virtual take. And I'm not a learning animal. I just made the same mistake again by not switching. Oh yes, teams. You can divide players into teams if the game calls for it. All right, now switch to the green team. Oh. Did I do that? Okay. I'm just going to show you a high res. Just going to give you a still close-up of the board there. And hopefully it comes through nicely in YouTube. It's very highly detailed. I mean, this is super high resolution board. It looks beautiful on my screen. I don't know how it's going to look after the video editing software and YouTube get done with it. Streaming bandwidth being what it is, who knows? Okay, now it's fun time. Yeah, not only can you have figurines, miniatures, and so on, but they can actually be animated, and animated with multiple states. So as you can see, I picked this guy up and he's walking around. He's got a nice walking animation, as in addition to his idle animation. And they can have multiple walking and idle animations, as well as multiple attack animations. So as you can see, one of his idle animations, he gets a cool club. And yes, if the scripting is there, it's just like 3D chess in Star Wars. If one of the miniatures hits the other, they react as if they've taken damage. And if they're killed, you can have them die. And you can have them come back to life. Now here I'm going to play around with the dragon and waste everyone's time. The dragon has a walking state and a flying state, and now I'm going to fly him around the table. Because I'm an asshole. Okay. Come on, make it realistic now. Come on. Let's go. Great. And we'll demonstrate his multi-state attacks and death animations just for fun. And he missed. So let's get... And... Oh, breath attack. Right. And he's dead. And he's gone. Oh no, he's back! Holy shit, you can't get rid of it. He simply can't be defeated. I forgot to tell you guys... Control X, Control C, Control V, or through the context menu, you can cut, copy, paste things, just as in any editing software, pretty much. So, yeah, just paste myself some extra floor tiles there. And that's a mess, so let's delete it. It's a snake. Okay. Now, this is really just super fun time. Jump cut. Right, look at that. Couple of errors there, but nothing we can't sort out. It's a Tyranid army. And this is actually a container in addition to a figurine. So you can place little... I kind of forget the rules for Tyranid, because I haven't played Warhammer in absolute ages. But yeah, you can dump little minions inside the mothership type figurine there. And sort them and do a search and all that good stuff. Ah, almost forgot. Yeah, this is a magic rainbow wand that someone programmed and uploaded to the Steam Workshop. Very fancy. Very fancy stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot to demonstrate variable rotation to you guys until, 24 minutes into the video? Yeah. So as you can see, you can change your degrees of rotation, which I'll now demonstrate. Now that's pretty slick. I'm kind of glad I waited to the magic wand bit, because look at that. That's slick. Back to 30. There you go. Perfect. And I don't need to do that. There's a notebook where mod makers can leave notes, or devs, or you can use it yourself. The scripting menu. There's the gravity. That's, yeah. Default tables. Boring, but they get the job done. And there's quite a variety of DLC. And some very good games like Cosmic Encounter and Scythe. And there are tons of incredible workshop mods, including, again, full board games. Hundreds of different full board games. Eurogames, classic games, you name it. And here we're going to look at a couple of Battletech figures. And then I'm going to make the game bug out. But first we're going to get a nice look at these lovely Battletech figures. Yep, there's an entire massive collection of figures stored in bags so that it all doesn't have to load in at the same time. Lovely detail on that. Just flip it around. As you can see, you can add tooltips to items, including combat stats for wargame miniatures. Very handy. Basically, every element can have a tooltip. And that's it. This video can't go on for hours, so now I must bid you adieu.